Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving straight into a highly strategic market in our latest explainer. We're going to take a deep dive into a real-world example of the Indianapolis real estate model. No fluff here, just the facts, the numbers, and the strategy. If you've been looking for a concrete, no-nonsense example of how modern property investment actually works when you strip away all that extra noise, well, let's look directly at the data. So, why are real estate investors intensely focusing their attention on Indianapolis right now? Instead of a traditional agenda today, we're going to do a math-first deconstruction of the source material. We're looking at actual, on-the-ground numbers to understand exactly why smart capital is flowing straight into this specific market. Okay, let's dive right into this. $375,000. This right here is our baseline. Now, you know and I know that in many major coastal markets, this number barely gets you a tiny studio apartment, right? But in the Indianapolis model we're unpacking today, this $375,000 purchase price actually represents a complete, highly attractive turnkey investment property. It's an incredibly accessible entry point for investors. But the entry price is really only half the story. Because right next to that purchase price, you've got the projected monthly rent, over $3,000 a month. When you put a $375,000 purchase price right next to a $3,000 plus monthly rent, wow, the bottom line value becomes absolutely clear. That is a robust yield. It's exactly the kind of math that anchors our explainer today, immediately signaling strong, reliable revenue. Which brings us to Section 1, the new construction advantage. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how these four core benefits stack up together. Great numbers on a spreadsheet are honestly only as good as your ability to protect them out in the real world, right? You start with new construction, which immediately translates into reduced maintenance exposure. You aren't constantly fixing 30-year-old plumbing or replacing an aging roof. That protects your monthly cash flow. Then you combine that fresh, high-quality build with strong tenant demand because, let's face it, renters overwhelmingly prefer newer, nicer homes. Finally, you lock in long-term appreciation potential as the surrounding market grows. You aren't just buying a house here, you're acquiring a truly streamlined asset. Moving right along to Section 2, cash flow meets appreciation. And this brilliantly illustrates the balancing act of real estate. You've got predictable cash flow on one side, driven by that strong $3,000 monthly rent and protected by the low maintenance of a brand new build. But on the exact same asset, you have future equity growth on the other side. It's not an either-or scenario. You're not sacrificing today's income for tomorrow's wealth, and you definitely aren't buying a high-yield property in a depreciating area. You are achieving a perfect harmony of both. Which naturally leads us to the most pivotal question for any serious investor looking at this data. How does this lead to scale? I mean, it's fantastic to have one successful property performing well, absolutely. But true wealth generation, that requires moving from the micro view of a single isolated asset to the macro view of massive portfolio expansion. So how do we take this one win and multiply it seamlessly? That brings us to Section 3, building a scalable portfolio. This is the ultimate goal for the focused investor, right? Utilizing this reliable formula to grow your real estate footprint without adding a ton of headaches. Here's the clear step-by-step logic of how this model acts as a growth engine. Step 1, you leverage new construction to systematically reduce maintenance. Step 2, you capitalize on that strong tenant demand to ensure you never have prolonged, expensive vacancies. Think about what happens when you combine those two steps. By minimizing repairs and maximizing occupancy, your property becomes incredibly passive. It just doesn't drain your time. And that leads directly to Step 3. You use those predictable, headache-free returns to scale the portfolio. Because your time and your capital are totally secure, you can confidently take the cash flow from property 1 and smoothly deploy it into property 2, and then property 3. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. This source material summarizes this entire philosophy perfectly. Let's write this directly. For many investors, opportunities like these offer a balance of predictable cash flow and future equity growth. That quote is literally the golden rule of this specific Indianapolis real estate model. It's that perfectly calibrated balancing act that allows an investor to step back from the day-to-day grind and focus entirely on sustainable scaling. Now, if you're analyzing these numbers and thinking about how they might plug right into your own scaling strategy, the data we've been explaining today comes straight from the experts on the ground. You can view similar opportunities in the current Indianapolis inventory by connecting directly with the NUA Real Estate Group at 765-525-2161. They're the ones actually sourcing and facilitating these specific new construction, high-yield assets. So the crucial point here is that investing is never just about the spreadsheet. Behind the $375,000 purchase prices and the $3,000 monthly rent checks, there's a tangible reality. The new real estate group operates on a simple, powerful mission: building communities, elevating lives. When you invest strategically in new construction, you're providing high-quality housing, you're participating in the healthy growth of a neighborhood, you're elevating the conversation from pure math to actual real-world impact. Because a truly great investment builds your portfolio while also building the community around it. Which leaves us with one final provocative thought to ponder. Are you ready to balance predictable cash flow with scalable equity growth? We've unpacked the highly attractive entry numbers, we've explored the operational strategy, and we've shown exactly how new construction in Indianapolis provides a unique vehicle to scale a large portfolio with significantly fewer headaches. The blueprint from our source material is completely laid out. The next step? Well, that's entirely up to you. Thank you for joining me for this explainer, everyone. Until next time, keep analyzing the data, keep learning the strategies, and keep scaling your success.